Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hard Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and today I'm going to do something that I haven't done before. I actually ran across an amazing short film that's not a horror film, but it's actually a thriller. And I was like, I had to get this filmmaker on to talk about it. And the name of the short film is called Warm Blooded, and it's streaming on YouTube right now. I have the director with us today, Riley Sharp. Riley, welcome to the Hard Realm.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. So tell my audience a little bit about Warm Blooded.
All right. So I was. This was my first short film with this kind of crew, this kind of industry, and I had. I've always had a lot of ambition for my movies, but I've never had the materials to do it. So when I've tried to produce this before, but I didn't have the equipment for it. This time I had my Blackmagic pocket cinema camera, and I had some lighting with me, so I could actually go for the kind of shots and feel that I wanted. So when I had my themes and my the kind of feeling that I wanted there, I had the resources I could get all that done. So I had some people together and I shared it with them and they thought it was a cool idea. So yeah, it's about 11 minutes. It's based on there's you want to hear a bit about the plot?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. So it centers around this group of these kids and they're trying to get into crime and things like that. And this one guy, he doesn't have a big role in these jobs most of the time, but when he finally gets this opportunity to, he has to kill someone, and he realizes that the what he wants is a lot more difficult, and it's he didn't he didn't want to kill to get to where he wanted to be. So there's some hurdles to get past, and the movie's about him figuring out if he really wants to do this. That's why it's the tagline is "Price of Ambition," because sometimes your dreams are they're not exactly what you wanted. You know.
And that's so true. And now, what gave you the inspiration for this story?
Uh Nothing really, man. I'm constantly thinking of stories like this, and especially with this kind of feel. It really comes out in the score because when I'm writing these things, I'm always playing some music to try to get like a score and a feel because you should be really in it when you're writing. So that's what all the music that was in that movie I was playing in my ears while I was writing it. So it's just like kind of you know when you listen to music and you picture a scene if you're just like thinking like that, and I don't know, this is the scene that I thought of and I made it. That's kind of my inspiration if I had any.
And the score of this movie from the opening credits is fucking bopping, man. I mean, it definitely is an amazing soundtrack. Now, now, when it came to making this film, how long did it take from the initial concept to the actual editing process?
Well, I guess technically from the concept to editing, it was probably a couple years because I had the idea a while ago and I tried to produce it and it didn't work out because I didn't have that equipment. But I the reason I actually did the film was for a project for school. It's my final project to graduate, and my what is it post secondary plan for the future is to go into the film industry, right? So you have to do something that involves that, and I plan to make a film. So from there, it took about maybe a week of rewriting. I got a couple more drafts down, and I got the idea around to some people, and I was at a shoot with some other studios in town, and I talked to them about it, and they said they liked it, and the people there had their own equipment, so they thought that they'd join me on it, and from there it was just kind of gathering actors, and that was about, I think it was November. So we did some shooting. One of my actors, the lead actor, whose main character was supposed to be played by somebody else, but he broke his leg, so we lost a couple weeks of filming. And then after that, we had a bunch of other projects to get done, so I had to put it on hold. But after that, it was probably I don't know, like a month of filming. There was only, I think, 10 shoot days, and they were all maybe 7 hours, so not too bad.
You're a young guy.
Process.
Uh, you're a young guy, and I
Yeah.
have a lot of young indie filmmakers, not only in horror, just in the indie filmmaking in general. What and some are like right now they want to do it, but they're on the fence. What can you tell them? some advice
Uh,
about jumping into the indie filmmaking?
I don't know. Well, I think part of what motivates me is just I think that I could make something really good, and it's about figuring out what you need to learn to make that good thing. And when you figure out, because the when you're starting out, ambition is a super tough hurdle because I always have these crazy ideas, but I have never been able to get them down the way that I wanted. But as long as you keep trying these things and learning these things, then you just it'll come to you, and that's those skills that you need. Just they'll be there as long as you're surrounding yourself and people like you and people who know things and taking opportunities. You'll pick up that information and you'll get those tools and the resources that you need to get what you want done. So kind of just hold out for that, you know.
That's great advice, man. And one of the questions I ask a lot of indie filmmakers who make shorts, is it hard to compact a beginning, middle, and end in such a short time span?
Like from a storyboarding writing kind of perspective.
Correct. Hmm.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. The idea was to make the script from scratch. So I don't really think in beginning, middle, and end. I think of I don't know. I have a complicated creative process, but it's not really about beginning, middle, and end. It's more about you just have a goal and you have to think about the path to get there and the things that your main character has to learn to get to that goal. And the usually the beginning, middle, and end will come from that. It was the introduction of the goal, getting to the goal, and the goal, right? So that's your beginning, middle, and end. So once you have that, you can kind of just fill in the gaps. And I don't know. It's a good habit to only have important beats and leave out anything unnecessary in your writing. So when you have that, it's you just kind of because your middle should be your biggest part, and that's where all those story beats that you need will be. So as long as you have your introduction and the process, which is the whole middle, and then you have the end and your like achievement, you've achieved these goals as your character. It's kind of all you need for your for plotting out a story. But it all comes from what your character wants. As long as you understand that, you can get anywhere.
And was it hard to compound your story into the I think 12, 14 minutes? Did you have
No,
to
I thought
cut some stuff out?
I thought it would. I didn't. I thought it would be shorter of a time because I wanted to make it like feature length because I had big plans for this. But it's I don't know. There's just I haven't really locked that down yet. How you get your story to be a certain length? You kind of just got to go with whatever you got. If your story doesn't feel like it's going to make it to 2 hours, you just don't have a 2 hour story. And I don't know where to go from there. You know, some people might be able to stretch their stories out, but it's not good to add filler. So that's something I don't really know. You know.
So you said that your inspiration was to make this into a feature length.
Mm.
How would that look? Did you already have a plan in your mind how the feature length of this would look?
Well, I don't know. I didn't think too much about it because it would just I thought that at feature length it would be too difficult to shoot. And if you get I don't know if it's a very subjective idea and everything in it is important. But so if it was feature length, I'd had to add a lot more of these story beats and a lot more of this motivation. And I maybe take that chance to flesh out the characters some more or talk about I don't know, go more into depth about goals. But the idea is to kind of just get a window into what this guy's thinking about, like just a short. Because the whole movie takes place in maybe a couple hours, and you just get to see the result of what he's been working for and the situation that he's put himself in. So if I were to go, I guess I could go chronologically because you remember there's a little flashback in there. If I put that at the start, I don't know, maybe I could have made it to 2 hours, but I think that it's got everything it needs in that 11 minutes. So
And this story definitely talks. I mean, it definitely shows the inner struggle that the main character is having, and the character is definitely relatable. I mean, we've all had been not that particular situation, but have been stuck in situations where do we go to the left or do we go to the right? And you did a great job of making this relatable to everyone.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. That was the kind of the hardest part was making the character understandable. 'Cause that's what you miss in those that short time is you don't really get to write a great character. You don't get to show them off and understand them because I've got an understanding of this character, and the hard part is in that time frame is showing it to people and letting them in on it. That's that's what makes a good short film is making sure you get all the details out in that time frame that you have. And I don't know. I tried to get it. I hope I did, and I got
You
more
did a great job.
ideas
You did
for
a
it.
great job.
Yeah.
Because I definitely give a round of applause to any filmmaker who can do a short film. Because in 12 to five, I've even seen some in 5 minutes where you can give the audience that character development in that short period of time,
Yeah.
and the audience walks away feeling something, and I definitely, because I've never made a film before, but I can imagine, trying to have that story in your head, where that story kind of wants to go, but compile it into, like, in a feature length, you have nothing but time to develop
Mhm.
those stories, those characters, those emotions. But to get it into 14 minutes or less, I mean, it's definitely has to be a challenge.
Yeah, that's kind of what's fun about it. It makes it's just so much if you can pack that all into that time. It really makes it, I don't know, I think that just makes it more impressive and more meaningful as a piece of art,
I agree.
because it's less about a journey and more about a story or a feeling, in
I
such a
agree.
short time. Yeah.
As a watcher, I mean, I grew up on anthology series, short stories like Tales from the Crypt and Creepshow, in
Nice.
the horror genre. And one thing, those anthologies, even there's some out there today. I mean, to give a good short story in a short time span where the audience feels fulfilled, they felt like they related to the characters, and whatever the message was, they were able to receive it in that short period of time. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, man.
So, all right, so what made you decide to, what, fuck it, I'm gonna get into filmmaking?
I don't know. I've been writing books since I could read, and I love telling stories. And I think that cinema is my favorite medium of art because it's all the mediums. You can get your music and your photography and your visual art and your the acting and the writing. There's so much to be done with film, and I've I've always been trying to make like a perfect story out of any medium I can. And so I've dabbled a little bit in every kind of like art form, and I can this is my chance to put them all together into something that I can experience and not like study. Because most of the time, if you see a good piece of art, you have to really get into it and understand. But a movie is more of an experience. You can watch it, you can feel it, and all those aspects that you would be studying are just coming into you naturally. As that's how it's designed to play as a movie.
Now, as a
And that's yeah.
filmmaker, is there a specific genre that you want to stay in, or do you want to be open to doing any kind of genre of movie?
Yeah, I do any genre. People ask me like what kind of stuff do I read or write? I just say anything good. I feel like you could make anything good in any genre. It's just about the story and how you describe your characters and how you get invested in it. You can really do anything good with any, or you can do anything of any genre as long as you have something good and something that you are like passionate about, right? Something you have a good vision for. Creative vision is so important, and as long as you have that, you kind of make anything. So I'll make anything. It depends on what story comes to me. Whatever comes to me, I'm gonna make it, no matter what genre.
Now, as you know, this is a horror channel. Are you a horror
Yeah.
fan?
Well, I've always studied horror, because I think that there's so many cool horror things out there, like horror movies, horror books, horror games are really cool because there's I don't know, there's just so many cool techniques that those forms of media use to get you scared, and I'd love to play with that. I've thought about it, and I don't know how I'd write a horror film. I'd have to do something else on set with that film, but I'd love to make something like that. I got a lot of cool ideas for just like tropes and horror mechanics as it goes. I'd love to try that.
So what's some horror films and video games that you enjoy?
Uh, I don't play a lot of video games, but horror movies, I just like those, like subtle horror, like Ari Aster movies, like Hereditary, and all those creepy foreign films. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched a horror movie, but I mostly just study what they do, and I love the kind of theme of just quiet, subtle, like things that you don't really notice, like those loud sounds and jump scares and stuff like that doesn't really play well for me. If I always thought that those loud sounds in movies with jump scares it'd be a lot scarier if there was just no sound at all, like if it's just
Yeah,
quiet and you just see what I don't know. There's a lot you could do.
because I talk about so people ask me like, what's a horror movie that's like scared the shit out of me, and
Yeah.
I always bring up the Blair Witch Project, and people are like, what Blair
Oh,
Witch Project?
that's a
And
classic. I haven't seen it, but I know it's good.
and yeah, and it's a great movie. You should watch it. And it less is more. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like, so
yeah.
you don't see the monster, you don't hear the monster, you don't. There's no blood or gore. It's just you using your imagination,
Yeah.
and
Plays the feelings.
yeah, and then and the last scene is just one of the main characters is standing in the corner in a fucking creepy house, and it pretty much ends that way. And I mean that freaked me out more than anything. I'm like, why is that? What is it about?
Mhm.
And you talk
It's just
about sorry, go ahead.
sorry.
No, I would say you're talking about Hereditary. I also
Yep.
love a Midsummer. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I was gonna say, yeah. I wouldn't count it as horror, but yeah, it gets you scared and it gets you anxious. So I agree.
Yeah, and it's beautifully shot too because
It's
like
beautiful, yeah.
it's so for a such a dark concept. It's so fucking bright.
hmm
It's
There,
shot
yeah,
so bright.
so cool. Yeah, I'd love to. I don't know. That's a cool movie. I'd love to make something like that because it's they play with how what you perceive as normal. That's a cool thing too, is getting your disposition to kind of argue with the theme of the movie because it's so it's about culture, right? And it's not normal to you, and so it's unsettling. That's just such a cool tool to utilize as a filmmaker and a writer. I'd love to do something like that. It's
Yeah, because
genius.
and I agree. In that movie, because I mean, if you look at if somebody from the outside is looking at our culture, there's a lot of shit in our culture that they would find unsettling and weird and disturbing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's wrong or right or anything. But like for us, I mean, I remember watching. I went to see Midsummer in a indie movie theater, and I really didn't know what the movie was about. I just walked in and talking about a score. The score in that movie
Oh yeah.
is more disturbing than anything else that you actually see because the score is just so unsettling and it sets you up for whatever you're expecting.
Yeah, it really it knows where it needs to be and it fits really nicely and it knows what you're feeling too. That's what's important.
Hmm.
Yeah, it knows how to cater to those fears.
Okay, well, Riley, where can everyone find you, my friend?
I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I'm working on getting because the people I got together, we want to make like some kind of production company, so we don't really have a name set out yet. On YouTube, it's VB Cinema, and you should be able to find it like that, VB Cinema, and Riley Sharp Cinema anywhere else.
Awesome. The
That's where
link
I'm at.
to the YouTube is going to be down in the description box. Definitely go on and check out Warm Blooded. It's fun. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Riley, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. Listen,
Thank you, man. Thanks for
no
inviting me.
problem. No problem, man. And if you decide to do that horror film, man, come back on, man, and let's talk about it.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the horror room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.